Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Patricia Maeda, and I'm the director of Women's Intimates and Swim at Fashion Snoops. It's a pleasure to be here again with Curve to present key lingerie and lifestyle trends for fall winter 22-23. So before we get into the presentation, I just want to give a brief overview of Fashion Snoops and what we do. So we are a trend platform and we provide insight on future trends along with powerful tools that can help you put these trends into action. So we discover the emotional drivers of change that are impacting the industry as well as consumer behavior. We track the evolution of emerging market specific trends, including intimate apparel. And on our platform, you're able to create dynamic color maps and color palettes, work with your team to develop, share, and present all the information from one easy to use platform. And of course, we also provide great inspiration for themes, key items, details, prints, and materials. So if you'd like more information, please email us at info@fashionsnoops.com. Let's get started in fall winter 22-23, and I'll be sharing some cultural sentiments that we forecasted for the season. Keep in mind that we actually have a lot more content on our site. We forecasted 4 cultural sentiments. Just for the sake of time, I will be presenting harmony and refuge today. So we start with harmony, and like everything else that we do at Fashion Snoops, we start by looking at a macro map. So all these macro trends that are influencing culture overall. So we looked at humanize and time to heal. Rehumanize really speaks to a post-pandemic world. Of course, 2020 and 2021 has been a very difficult year, not just in terms of the pandemic itself, but also its impact on the economy and on the environment. That was also a year when we saw a big push for reform in different systems of oppression. So in Rehumanize, we are really looking to reemerge from the chaos with new lessons learned in order to develop new habits, new customs, and overall just new standards that will drive humanity forward. Of course, after a year that we didn't have any weddings, holiday gatherings, or vacations, birthdays, and festivals, people are really ready to emerge from lockdown and they're ready to reconnect. With experts predicting the widespread use of vaccines by the end of 2021, we see that many people are primed to embrace a new era of reunion and release. Another huge movement is this new wave of believers and seekers. So people really turning to spiritual practices in order to find meaning and stability. So these people are really laying out a cultural landscape that is based on faith and belief to find purpose, belonging, and meaning in a very uncertain world. And we also saw how much we are connected to our communities, especially during COVID. Moving forward, I think we will trade this multitude of internet connections and internet friendships in order to prioritize the intimacy of a smaller group of people. So Rehumanize is really much about, new priorities in terms of intimacy, touch, and physical connection. Another big portion of harmony is the idea of wellness, and that's what Time to Heal speaks to. Wellness will become top priority for people. No matter the industry, companies should integrate wellness into their strategy, and they should really cater to this new demand that places healing and well-being at the forefront of purchasing decisions. So we're looking into ideas of immunity and protection. There is this emergence of a new market for immunity and protection based products. Consumers are seeking to prepare for the next inevitable health threat. Practices like breath work, sound healing, Reiki, meditation, and even sexual therapy are all uptrending. Consumers are trying to cope with the effects of a very traumatic global event. And another thing that is really important is that the home, our personal spaces, really became a wellness sanctuary. So our home really protected us from the discomforts of the outside world. And in that sense, it also became the epicenter of healing for us. So this is sort of how we arrived at the cultural sentiment harmony. And harmony really is about finding balance, and it really points to the need for reflection, soul care, as well as very soothing designs. For intimate sleep and loungewear, we're calling this shift quiet contemplation. And it really comes from a place where we're emerging from a period of introspection. Over a year that we're all spending indoors, I think it really gave us time for reflection. It really made us kind of like turn inwards in order to reflect on what is needed in order to move forward. That movement will push design to be a lot more calm and a lot more soothing, especially for intimate apparel. We're looking here into balanced constructions and soft geometric designs. I think there's a sense of weightless that comes through in sheer fabrications. And overall, I think consumers are really trying to restore balance. And lingerie as the first thing that you put on your body in the morning. I think that's really important to consider. Another thing that is really important for this shift is that we're transcending the idea of comfort and really trying to infuse well-being benefits, which is really important, especially for sleepwear. So we're looking at the gentle review of the body, and this really speaks to sheer and semi-sheer fabrications in matte colorways. This is a trend that has been very popular in recent seasons, but the idea here is to really integrate that into everyday lingerie. So really redefining what it means to be comfortable but still very sexy. So it's not just about that special occasion lingerie. This is actually everyday wear. One of the things that is interesting is that we're seeing these items that are very staple items, like the underwire bra with inner sling, and the high cut leg briefs, and they're all really sensual when it's done in the sheer fabrications. We're looking at ideas of sensory balance. So this is very much about achieving a balance between vulnerability and strength by using very sensual designs like the G-string, but with a minimalistic approach. Another thing that I find very interesting that's happening in the market is the idea of scented lingerie. So these are items that are infused with therapeutic essential oils that provide that additional soothing effect. And I think that's really interesting. Could be applied in this G-string, for example. Next, we're looking at a balanced mix of fabrics. So again, that's another trend that has been very popular in recent years. But the update here is really to infuse balancing fabrics to the design. So we see here, this very illuminating fabric juxtaposed with delicate lace, as well as, the lace brief with the detail of the satin covered elastic. And finally, structured softness. This is one of my favorite callouts because it kind of blends that, sheer, very soothing fabric like mesh and tulle, and that is applied to very structured designs. So here we see this very expressive and visible U-shaped underwire and adjustable straps. So I think this is a great way to achieve that sort of like structure balance that we all kind of need right now. For sleep and loungewear, enhanced wellness, like I mentioned, is really, really important. The wellness conversation really comes to the forefront of design here. We're seeing so many great innovations in terms of materials that include temperature regulating fabrics, antibacterial finishes. We're also seeing fabrics that have been infused with essential oils as well as CBD. In terms of shape, we're really pushing this idea of fluid forms. And overall, I think we need to keep in mind that loungewear really became a staple outfit during lockdown. So consumers are really looking to elevate the offering for fall winter. I think, the consumer is willing to wear the same outfit at home as well as take Zoom calls or run errands with the same outfit. So there is this shift for more elevated shapes that can work in different situations. For that, we are forecasting items like the white leg pants, pajama shirts, and robes, and they all feature tailoring elements such as pleats, pockets, and belts. For nightwear, we're seeing, slips and nightgowns feature very smooth surfaces. For example, silk, satin, washable silk, and they're all balanced with this very feminine lace. And then finally, contemplative motifs. This is really a great application for prints and embroidery. The overall print direction for the season includes mystical patterns, so tranquil circles and geometrics that can offer a new approach for a moment of pause. Moving on to refuge. So in addition to the conversation of wellness that's included in Time to Heal, we also saw another important shift taking place, and it's called Return to Wild. We're looking at this movement towards rewilding. So humans really seeking to return to the wild, not so much in the literal sense, even though that did happen during the pandemic when people sought to reconnect with the outdoors, but also about understanding that we're so interconnected with our global problems. So one of the important shifts here is raw and radical resources. And of course, the demand for sustainable materials will only grow as we move forward. And this is really about looking to natural ecosystems for inspiration and embracing a circular economy. Rewilding is a movement that keeps on gaining momentum as people leave traditional city life and become more interested in reintegrating themselves to the natural world. So these are all the essential knowledges for survival that are uptrending, such as botany, foraging, and living off the land. And preserving life. This is the way that, all the ways in which we can try to preserve life on Earth. That includes climate interventions, resilience technology, and, really relying on the knowledge of Indigenous people. So we arrive at refuge, and refuge is defined as a condition for being safe or sheltered from pursuit, danger, or trouble. So this is really much about cultivating, that idea of feeling comfort and protection at home. We're calling this shift primal comfort. And, clearly the intimates and loungewear market has been moving towards a direction of increasing comfort in recent years. But coupled with the endless time that we spent indoors, we see comfort dressing really exploding in popularity. And as we emerge from the global pandemic, consumers will want very cozy layers that can act as a sort of emotional armor, really protecting us from the dangers of outside. The idea of primal comfort is reminiscent of our earliest primitive needs. So the need for safety and security. So we're really looking into these enveloping designs, almost cocoon-like designs that feature soft quilting techniques and cloud-like shapes. This is all about, what are the ways in which we can infuse a little bit more coziness into the everyday and really creating that foundation for feeling safe and sheltered. I'm going to start with loungewear because it's such an important component of primal comfort. So we start with texture relief. So this is about high piled textures like boucle, as well as textured knits. I think that is so important for loungewear. It really offers a sense of relief for consumers who are craving security and comfort. Another important conversation here is the idea of we are experiencing a touch crisis. So the touch crisis was already happening even before the pandemic, but of course now when we're so afraid of touching surfaces, touching other people, I think it's so important to create these textures that invite touch because the consumer is definitely lacking that right now. The idea of warm minimalism comes through in understated elegance. So this is where you would create, your very comfortable knit sets. They should all be very minimal in design, but feature very warm colors, inviting textures, and fitted stretch designs. So, apply your leggings as well as tops here would be really interesting. Sweatpants, this is a question that I get asked a lot if sweatpants are still going to be trending next season. And I think the answer for that is yes. I think there's a lot of people who find a lot of comfort in sweatpants. But the idea here for primal comfort is to really infuse an element of utility. So in this image that you see on the screen, for example, we're using this adjustable Velcro strap cuff. I think that's a great call out, to infuse a functional detail. That's also really great for sleepwear, for consumers who like, the ankle cuffs that keep the pants from riding up. So really great call out for sleepwear as well. Duvet dressing is literally about creating a wearable duvet. We're seeing this, quilted materials with really soft hand feel. I think this really nods to ideals of cocooning and protection. For underwear, we're definitely seeing knits. I think ever since that Katie Holmes moment when she was photographed wearing a cashmere bralette, knit underwear really took off. And I think, especially for fall, winter, it will still be very important. So we're seeing cashmere and soft jersey blends that are favored in ribbed textures. Towel dressing also speaks to the idea of texture relief that we just talked about. So these are all ways in which we can invite touch. So offering, these very soft textures like terry cloth. This can be applied to bralettes, but also, loungewear staples like the biker shorts, of course, bathrobes. The bodysuit gets a cozy makeover as well. So we're seeing the bodysuit in cashmere fabrications, and this one features paneled sides with underbust seam that add that sensual layer that we all want from lingerie. And finally, we're looking into full coverage. I think there's no way that we can address comfort without saying, that these items should be high-waisted, full coverage, offering a sense of comfort and security through lingerie is very essential. So we're seeing that trend for both bras and briefs. So that is all from me. I hope you really enjoyed this presentation. Please stay connected with Fashion Snoops through our app, our events, or our social media. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.